first English stand-up comedy shows here in Turkey were more than 2 years ago, organized by Miss Aslı Akbay, right? She started bringing in comedians from places like Europe and United States, back when the currency rates were much more merciful. She was doing one-off shows in places like Hard Rock Cafe and Karga. We met and started doing shows together in places like Boğaziçi University. We brought in comedians like Naz Osmanoğlu and Phil Nicole. After a year or so of doing shows here and there, people from BK Mutfak saw one of our shows and they invited us for a chat. And we started performing there every month now for more than a year now.
Welcome to Stand Up Turkey, everyone!
Stand Up Turkey is an English stand-up comedy show. We perform at BK Mutfak every month, and also we perform at other venues as well, irregularly. Now, luckily, Turkish stand-up, at least, is a thing here in Turkey, so people are at least familiar with the idea of going to a show and listening to a person on the stage who has nothing more than a bar stool and a microphone stand. But the challenge is that this is appealing to a very niche market, so we are trying to create demand for it.
I moved to Istanbul in 2014 and started a Turkish open mic with a friend of mine. That went really well. And then in 2015, a Polish guy called Peter got in touch with me and said, "Hey, I want to do an English stand-up gig in Istanbul. Is there anywhere I can perform?" Well, there wasn't anywhere. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to organize an English stand-up gig. So I organized the show, and for the first show we had 90 people, 90 paying audience. And I was like, oh my God, okay, there's obviously a market for this, and expats want to come and watch English stand-up comedy. Then I started working with the Hard Rock Cafe and bringing over comedian friends, comedians that I liked from the UK, and that went really well. And in the process of starting these English comedy gigs, I got Turkish comedians to also start doing their material in English, and they started really enjoying it. And then I thought, okay, well, we need to also, alongside bringing comedians over from the UK, there also needs to be a regular gig where people can come and practice. And, you know, so basically then I started also doing English stand-up comedy open mics.
So in order to create demand for this, we are trying to do shows in places that haven't had an English stand-up comedy show before. We did the first English stand-up comedy shows in places like BK Mutfak, Boğaziçi University, Koç University, in language prep schools, in co-working spaces. We are doing corporate events, private events, mostly because this is a very fresh thing in Turkey. Each month, our audience is increasing. Each month, we welcome new comedians to our stage. Each month, our community basically grows. In our shows, we had more than 20 comedians performing. Not just the regulars, but also one-off guests, people coming from Japan, England, Germany, United States, Canada. And we have grown to a family, basically. The same way I performed in places like Rome and Shanghai, touring comedians or just visiting Istanbul, messages saying, yeah, I would like to take part in your stage. And that way we welcomed many comedians as well. That's the part that makes me happy. We have become pretty much a hub for English stand-up here in Turkey.
This men's perfume is going to take over the world. I said, isn't that colonialism?
Something that's really exciting for the English stand-up comedy scene in Turkey at the moment is the show Stand Up Turkey, which I'm a host of. It's a monthly show and we have 6 different comedians performing. Our aim is that they develop their material, become better comedians, and eventually do their own 1-hour show.
Our group consists of many regulars, right? Both Turkish and expats. For example, we have Othman Nahas, a Syrian comic who performed the first feature-length stand-up comedy show by a Syrian all over the world. I mean, yeah, not much of a big market, but it's still a pretty good accomplishment, I think. We have Utku Ergin, the guy playing on the Wix.com ads on YouTube, the guy that everybody is basically sick of, right? We have Ibrahim El-Kazaz, an Egyptian-American comic who is also a rock star in Emian world. He had his feature-length set named Künefe Nesut that we produced. We have Dan Spinks, an Englishman living in Istanbul because, I don't know, his puns are legendary though. We even have Alpay Erdem, who is already an established Turkish stand-up comic, but he started learning English and started performing in English with us for almost a year now. He has been doing really great. He is the most professional among us. We have university students, we have an accountant, we have a computer engineer, we have a theater actress, we have a worldwide journalist. Our group consists of many people from different backgrounds, different comic styles.
People say, oh, why don't you make more political jokes? And I'm like, I am half Syrian and half Turkish. I am a political joke.
Our general aim is to do as many shows as we humanly can and extend to the maximum audience number we can reach. Because worldwide, stand-up is a growing trend. There are more Netflix specials than ever before. There are more content being produced and consumed all over the world. So why wouldn't we have the same growing trend here in Turkey, right? We already have Netflix-like platforms operating. We already have a growing habit of consuming online video. We already have a growing habit of live entertainment. So the setup is right here. We just need to reach to a greater audience. That's the challenge. Thanks to the people from Boğaziçi University and BKM Mutfak, we had the opportunity to produce all these shows. We just need more places and more venues so that people who would like it, we are sure would like it, can experience it.